In Hollywood, fame and fortune often seem like the ultimate dream. But for some, the spotlight has been replaced by the harsh reality of prison bars. Whether due to legal missteps, personal struggles, or criminal behavior, a number of once-beloved stars have found themselves behind bars, facing serious consequences for their actions. Let's look back at these 25 guilty faces living in prison. Josh Duggar. Josh Duggar's life took a major turn in 2015 when he became embroiled in a scandal that would significantly alter his public image and future. Reports surfaced that Josh had been involved in serious allegations of inappropriate behavior from his teenage years, including accusations related to molestation. These allegations were widely reported in the media, drawing intense public scrutiny on the Duggar family. The scandal led to Josh's departure from public life for a period, though he later returned to the media spotlight, and the family attempted to distance itself from the controversial events. The situation took an even darker turn in 2021 when Josh Duggar was arrested and charged with the possession of illicit material involving minors. The legal proceedings that followed were heavily publicized, and in December 2021, Josh was convicted on these charges. The case drew attention to both the severity of his crimes and the difficult position it placed his family in, as they had long been associated with a highly publicized, family-friendly image. In May 2022, Josh Duggar was sentenced to more than 12 years in prison. His sentence was confirmed and upheld after an appeal in 2023, which further solidified the end of his public career and the ongoing impact of his legal troubles on the Duggar family's reputation. This legal outcome has added to the complex legacy of the Duggar family, overshadowing their earlier TV success and raising questions about the relationship between their public persona and the private lives of the individuals involved. Jared Fogle. Jared Fogle, a name once synonymous with weight loss and healthy living, was a prominent figure in Subway sandwich commercials for many years. His journey to fame began in 1998, when he was a 20-year-old college student living in Indiana and weighed over 400 pounds. Fogle's story became widely known after he decided to take control of his health. Faced with obesity and its associated risks, he made a life-changing decision to alter his habits. By exercising regularly and adopting a new diet plan that involved consuming 2 Subway sandwiches each day, Fogle began to shed significant weight. His transformation was remarkable, and within less than a year, he managed to lose more than 200 pounds, or more than half of his body weight, according to the Los Angeles Times. Fogle's incredible weight loss garnered attention, and in 1999, he was featured in a Men's Health magazine article. The publication's coverage of his success story brought him further recognition, and in 2000, Subway approached him to become a spokesperson for the brand. As a spokesman, Fogle became the face of Subway's marketing campaigns, which highlighted his personal success and positioned the sandwiches as a healthier fast food option. His catchy tagline, "Eat Fresh," and his transformative story of overcoming obesity were central to Subway's branding efforts. Fogle's image as the Subway guy resonated with the public, and his association with the brand led to lucrative opportunities, including speaking engagements and partnerships. However, Fogle's life took a dark turn in 2015. In the midst of his successful career as a pitchman for Subway, investigations revealed that he had been involved in extremely serious criminal activities. During a plea deal with federal authorities, it was revealed that Fogle had engaged in the exploitation of minors. His actions were a stark contrast to the image of health and positivity he had built over the years. As a result of these crimes, Fogle was sentenced to 15 years and 8 months in federal prison in 2015. He also faced additional consequences, including fines and the forfeiture of assets, as part of his plea agreement. The downfall of Fogle was swift and tragic, as his previous public persona as a role model for weight loss and healthy living was irreparably damaged by his criminal behavior. His case serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of celebrity and the unpredictability of a public life. Harvey Weinstein. The accusations against Weinstein gained widespread attention in 2017 as part of the #MeToo movement, when numerous women came forward to share their experiences. According to USA Today, a staggering 87 women ultimately accused Weinstein of sexual abuse. Among these were prominent actresses, aspiring performers, and employees in the film industry. Despite the sheer volume of accusations, Weinstein was convicted based on the testimonies of two women, Miriam Haley and Jessica Mann, whose cases were the focus of his 2020 trial. Weinstein was arrested in New York in 2018 on charges of rape, committing a criminal sexual act, sexual abuse, and sexual misconduct. As the investigations unfolded, authorities in California and London also began probing allegations of sexual crimes linked to Weinstein. Before his trial, Weinstein was released on $1 million bail and required to wear an ankle monitor. Despite the overwhelming accusations, Weinstein consistently denied any wrongdoing. A spokesperson for him told USA Today that any allegations of non-consensual sex are unequivocally denied. During his trial, Weinstein faced charges including first-degree rape, third-degree rape, and a first-degree criminal sexual act. Miriam Haley testified that Weinstein forcibly performed oral sex on her in 2006, while Jessica Mann accused him of raping her in a hotel room in 2013. The testimonies of these women, along with supporting evidence and corroborating witnesses, were pivotal in the case. While Weinstein was found guilty of a criminal sexual act against Haley and third-degree rape of Mann, the jury acquitted him of predatory sexual assault and first-degree rape against Mann. In February 2020, Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison. The sentence marked a significant moment in the legal and cultural reckoning of powerful men exploiting their positions for personal gain. Weinstein's conviction not only sent shockwaves through Hollywood, but also underscored the importance of holding influential individuals accountable for their actions. See murder. Corey Miller's career was derailed by a tragic incident in 2002 that led to his conviction for second-degree murder. The case involved the death of 16-year-old Steve Thomas, who was fatally shot in a nightclub altercation in Louisiana. Miller was arrested, tried, and ultimately convicted in 2009, receiving a life sentence in the Louisiana State Penitentiary, often referred to as Angola Prison. From the outset, Miller maintained his innocence, claiming he had no involvement in Thomas's death. His conviction was based on eyewitness testimony, but over the years, significant questions have been raised about the integrity of the trial and the reliability of the witnesses. Two key eyewitnesses, Kenneth Jordan and Darnell Jordan, have since come forward to recant their testimony, alleging they were coerced by authorities. Kenneth Jordan stated he was pressured into falsely identifying Miller as the shooter to avoid facing unrelated legal troubles of his own. Similarly, Darnell Jordan claimed he was intimidated into lying under oath during the trial. In addition to the witness recantations, Miller's case has garnered widespread attention due to a high-profile advocate, reality TV star and aspiring attorney Kim Kardashian. As part of her ongoing efforts to address criminal justice reform, Kardashian highlighted Miller's case in 2020, citing the recanted testimonies, new evidence pointing to his possible innocence, and allegations of jury misconduct. In a tweet, she wrote, "Since his trial, witnesses have recanted, new evidence of his potential innocence has come to light, and there are claims of jurors being pressured into voting to convict." Her involvement brought renewed attention to Miller's legal battle and the broader issues of fairness in the justice system. Miller's case also intersected with a landmark legal decision. In April 2020, the Supreme Court ruled in Ramos v. Louisiana that jury verdicts in serious criminal trials must be unanimous to convict. This decision cast doubt on the validity of Miller's 10-2 conviction, raising hopes for a potential retrial or new appeal. Despite the growing momentum for Miller's case, legal challenges persist. In 2023, a federal judge upheld his conviction, concluding that the recanted testimonies from Kenneth and Darnell Jordan were unreliable and insufficient to overturn the original verdict. This decision was a significant setback for Miller, who continues to proclaim his innocence. Jace faced a devastating downfall in 2014 when he became involved in a tragic and violent incident at his Los Angeles home. Jace, who had built a 2-decade-long acting career, including roles in series like Southland and a portrayal of basketball legend Michael Jordan in the TV movie Michael Jordan, An American Hero, saw his professional and personal life unravel due to this event. The incident, which occurred on May 19, 2014, involved the fatal shooting of his wife, April Jace. Reports indicate that the tragedy stemmed from escalating personal conflicts within their marriage. During the incident, Jace called 911 and admitted to his involvement, reportedly stating to the dispatcher that he had shot his wife. The couple's 2 young children were present at the time of the shooting, adding another layer of heartbreak to the situation. Subsequent investigations revealed troubling details about Jace's personal life. There were allegations of prior domestic issues and troubling behavior, which painted a picture of a tumultuous marriage. These revelations shocked the public, as Jace's on-screen persona as a morally conflicted but fundamentally good-hearted police officer in The Shield stood in stark contrast to his real-life actions. In 2016, after a trial that included testimony from family members and evidence from the scene, Jace was convicted of second-degree murder. The court determined that he acted with intent but without premeditation. He was sentenced to 40 years to life in prison, a punishment reflecting the severity of his crime. R. Kelly faced a dramatic fall from grace when he was taken into federal custody on July 11, 2019, in Chicago. The arrest marked a pivotal moment in a series of escalating legal battles centered around serious allegations of sexual misconduct and abuse. According to the Chicago Tribune, the charges against Kelly included multiple counts of sexual exploitation of minors, racketeering, and obstruction of justice. The legal proceedings against Kelly spanned both New York and Chicago, with prosecutors presenting disturbing evidence and testimony from victims who accused the singer of using his fame and influence to exploit and control them. Allegations of witness tampering also emerged, tied to Kelly's 2008 trial in which he was acquitted of child pornography charges. Prosecutors claimed that Kelly and his associates intimidated witnesses and paid individuals to alter their testimony, further complicating his legal troubles. The COVID-19 pandemic caused significant delays in the trials, with court dates pushed back multiple times. While awaiting trial in federal custody in Chicago, Kelly was reportedly involved in an altercation with another inmate in August 2020. During the incident, Kelly sustained injuries, though details surrounding the altercation remain limited. In June 2022, Kelly's legal battles culminated in a landmark sentencing. Following his conviction in New York on charges of racketeering and violations of the Mann Act, which prohibits the transportation of individuals across state lines for illegal sexual activity, Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison. The ruling reflected the gravity of his crimes, as the court considered testimony from survivors who detailed years of abuse and manipulation. Later that same year, additional legal proceedings in Chicago brought further consequences for Kelly. In September 2022, he was convicted on federal charges of child pornography and the enticement of minors. While the exact sentencing for these charges was determined separately, it added to his already lengthy prison term. Publications such as Forbes and Vibe highlighted the significant impact of these rulings, marking Kelly's convictions as a milestone in the fight against predatory behavior in the entertainment industry. Rogowski. Despite his success, Rogowski's life began to take a troubling turn in the early 1990s. In 1991, Following a difficult breakup with his longtime partner, he crossed paths with Jessica Bergston, an acquaintance of his ex-girlfriend. They spent time together, but soon after, Rogowski made a series of impulsive and regrettable decisions that would have severe consequences. These decisions ultimately led to criminal charges that changed the course of his life. In 1991, Rogowski was convicted for his involvement in a crime that would result in his lengthy prison sentence. Throughout his incarceration, Rogowski became a more controversial figure. Although he was eligible for parole as early as 2011, his request was denied. Further attempts at parole were made in 2019 and again in 2022, but each time his parole was revoked, prolonging his time behind bars. Despite his significant past influence on the skateboarding world, these legal struggles overshadowed his once promising career. Darren Sharper. After retiring in 2010, Sharper transitioned into a media role, working as an analyst for the NFL Network, where he provided insights and commentary on the league. However, Sharper's post-football life took a dramatic turn when he became the subject of several legal investigations. In 2014, he was arrested in New Orleans on charges related to sexual assault. Further investigations revealed that Sharper's alleged crimes spanned multiple states, and he faced accusations of drugging and sexually assaulting women. The legal proceedings culminated in a sentencing in August 2016, where Sharper was handed an 18-year and 4-month prison sentence to be served for charges in Louisiana. In addition to this, he faced a separate case in California, where he was sentenced to an additional 20 years for similar offenses. These sentences were to be served concurrently, meaning Sharper would serve both terms at the same time, amounting to a total of 20 years in prison. Todd and Julie Chrisley. The Chrisleys' wealth was largely attributed to Todd's career as a successful entrepreneur and real estate developer. He built his reputation as a savvy businessman with a keen eye for detail, a trait he often brought into his personal life, as depicted on the show. However, behind the glamorous facade, legal troubles were brewing that would ultimately bring their empire crashing down. On August 12, 2019, Todd and Julie Chrisley were indicted on multiple charges, including tax evasion, conspiracy, bank fraud, and wire fraud. Prosecutors alleged that the couple engaged in an elaborate scheme to defraud banks and evade taxes. The charges painted a picture of financial mismanagement and deception, with claims that they had falsified documents to secure millions of dollars in loans and failed to pay taxes on their income. The legal battle came to a head on June 7, 2022, when the couple was found guilty on all counts. Todd received a 12-year prison sentence, while Julie was sentenced to 7 years. According to CNN, Todd began serving his sentence at FPC Pensacola, a minimum security prison in Florida, while Julie was incarcerated at FMC Lexington, a federal medical center in Kentucky. In 2023, the couple's sentences were reduced, with Todd's release date adjusted to 2033 and Julie's to 2028. Despite their legal woes, Todd and Julie have maintained their innocence, claiming they were unfairly targeted and expressing hope for appeals that could overturn their convictions. William Hayden. From 2011 to 2014, the Discovery Channel aired Sons of Guns, a reality TV show that gained popularity for its unique portrayal of the firearms industry. The series centered around Red Jacket Firearms, a family-owned gun store and weapons manufacturer based in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. The show focused on the day-to-day operations of the business, showcasing the creation, modification, and sale of firearms, as well as the challenges the family faced in running a firearms business. William Hayden, the shop's founder and owner, was the central figure in the series. Known for his charisma and expertise in weapons, Hayden became a recognizable face to viewers. The show followed the personal and professional lives of Hayden and his employees, including his daughter Stephanie and several other individuals working at Red Jacket. Sons of Guns quickly became a hit, drawing viewers interested in the gun industry, survivalism, and reality TV. However, despite the show's success, things took a dark turn after the series concluded in 2014. Shortly after the final season aired, Hayden became embroiled in legal troubles. Over the following years, multiple individuals came forward with allegations against him, accusing him of serious misconduct. These allegations included charges of sexual abuse and assault, some involving minors. The accusations were shocking, considering Hayden's on-screen persona as a responsible businessman and family man. In 2017, after extensive investigations and legal proceedings, Hayden was convicted of multiple charges related to these accusations. He was sentenced to a lengthy prison term, with some reports indicating that he received multiple life sentences. The conviction and his subsequent imprisonment marked a dramatic fall from grace for the former reality star, whose family business and public image had once been synonymous with the popular show. Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic captivated the world in 2020 with the release of the Netflix documentary series Tiger King. The series offered an in-depth look into the wild and often dangerous world of big cat collectors, but it was Exotic's chaotic and scandalous life that became the focus of the show. Exotic, the owner of the GW Zoo in Wynwood, Oklahoma, became a larger-than-life figure known for his eccentricities, outlandish behavior, and bold persona, which included a penchant for flamboyant fashion, country music, and political ambitions. The documentary series quickly became a cultural phenomenon, introducing viewers to a bizarre cast of characters in the world of exotic animal trade and conservation. However, Exotic's rivalry with Carole Baskin, an animal rights activist and owner of Big Cat Rescue, was the central storyline. The tension between Exotic and Baskin escalated over the years, with Exotic frequently accusing Baskin of unethical practices while she campaigned against his business. The feud took a dark turn when, in 2017, Exotic hired a hitman for $3,000 to kill Baskin. His plan was to eliminate her as a threat to his zoo and livelihood. Exotic's murder-for-hire plot was eventually discovered by authorities, and it would become the centerpiece of his criminal case. Alongside this attempt on Baskin's life, Exotic was also implicated in a series of other illegal activities. These included the killing of 5 tigers to make room for more animals at his zoo, selling baby lemurs under the guise of charitable donations, and numerous other wildlife violations. His actions were not only cruel to the animals under his care, but also violated numerous federal laws surrounding wildlife protection. In 2020, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Oklahoma charged Exotic with multiple crimes, including 2 counts of murder for hire, as well as violations of the Endangered Species Act and animal abuse charges. Following a trial, Exotic was sentenced to 22 years in federal prison. He was also given 3 years of supervised release after completing his sentence. Despite his attempts to appeal and reduce his sentence, his legal battles continued. Exotic's legal team did manage to secure a slight reduction in his sentence, shaving off 1 year. However, in 2022, an appeal to further reduce his sentence by 8.5 years was rejected by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. The court upheld his conviction, reinforcing the severity of his crimes. Throughout his time in prison, Joe Exotic has continued to maintain his innocence, claiming that he was wrongfully convicted and that the charges against him were politically motivated. He has also garnered a following of supporters who believe his sentence was too harsh. However, his legal appeals have so far been unsuccessful, and he remains incarcerated. Ryan Grantham began his acting career at a young age, with his debut in the 2007 television movie The Secret of the Nutcracker. His early roles helped him establish himself in the entertainment industry, and in 2008, he appeared in the sci-fi action film Jumper, alongside stars like Hayden Christensen and Samuel L. Jackson. His performances in these early projects seemed to point toward a bright future in Hollywood. Throughout the next few years, Grantham continued to work consistently in both television and film. He appeared in a variety of roles, showcasing his versatility across genres. His breakout roles included playing Little Anton in Terry Gilliam's The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, a fantasy film that featured an ensemble cast including Heath Ledger, Johnny Depp, and Colin Farrell. Grantham also had a role in the beloved family comedy Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where he portrayed Rodney James. His career seemed poised to take off as he was involved in increasingly high-profile projects. In addition to his film work, Grantham found steady work in television. He appeared in popular TV series such as iZombie, Supernatural, and Riverdale. These roles, though not starring parts, kept him in the public eye and allowed him to hone his craft as an actor. At the time, Grantham was seen as a young talent with a promising career ahead, but his journey would take a shocking and horrific turn. On March 31, 2020, Grantham's life took a dark turn when he shot and killed his mother, Barbara Waite, in the back of the head in their home in British Columbia. This act of violence, which he later admitted to, shocked both his family and the public. Grantham did not immediately turn himself in after the murder. Instead, he made a disturbing video confession where he expressed his intention to kill Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He even drove to Ottawa with the intention of carrying out the attack, but ultimately decided against it. After abandoning his plan to harm the Prime Minister, Grantham turned himself over to the authorities the following day. The crime and Grantham's actions afterward raised serious questions about his mental health and state of mind. In the aftermath, Grantham was charged and convicted for the murder of his mother. In his legal proceedings, it was revealed that he had been struggling with significant mental health issues at the time of the crime. His attorney, Chris Johnson, later shared with the media that Grantham was receiving the help he needed in prison and had gained insight into the severity of his actions. Johnson also indicated that Grantham deeply regretted the harm he caused his mother. In 2022, Grantham was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 14 years. This sentence marked the tragic end to a once promising career in acting, as Grantham's life took a sharp and irreversible turn due to his heinous crime. While his attorney reported that Grantham was working on his mental health and showing remorse, the damage to his family and his own future was irreversible, and the tragic events would forever overshadow his previous accomplishments in the entertainment industry. Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez's 2019 project, Chixtape 5, marked his greatest commercial achievement. The album debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200 chart, making it his highest-charting album at that time. The Chixtape series, known for its nostalgic sampling and remixes of classic R&B tracks, resonated with both older and younger listeners, proving Lanez's ability to bridge generational gaps in music. Unfortunately, what appeared to be the start of a long and successful career was abruptly derailed in 2020. That year, Lanez became embroiled in a highly publicized and controversial incident. He was accused of shooting fellow rapper Megan Thee Stallion after an argument following a night out in Los Angeles. Megan Thee Stallion, one of the most prominent artists in the music industry at the time, was shot in both of her feet with an unregistered semi-automatic firearm. Although the injuries were non-life-threatening, the incident sparked a media firestorm, and Megan Thee Stallion publicly revealed that Lanez had been the one responsible for the shooting. Lanez initially faced a backlash from fans and the public, with many condemning his actions and questioning his character. The legal proceedings that followed were tense and highly publicized. In 2022, Lanez was found guilty of multiple charges related to the shooting, including felony assault with a firearm. The court case, which included testimony from both Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion, brought to light the tumultuous nature of their relationship and the aftermath of the shooting. Despite the fame and success he had achieved, Lanez's career seemed to come to a tragic end as a result of his actions. In August 2023, after being convicted, Tory Lanez was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his role in the shooting. The sentence effectively halted his musical career and left his future in the industry uncertain. While Lanez has expressed remorse and sought to move forward with his life, the consequences of the shooting and the subsequent legal fallout have had a profound impact on his career, overshadowing his earlier successes and leaving a dark mark on his legacy as an artist. Danny Masterson. In 2017, Masterson's career took a dramatic turn when he became the subject of a criminal investigation following allegations made by multiple women. The accusations involved claims of sexual assault that were said to have taken place between 2001 and 2003 during and after his time on That 70s Show. The women who came forward alleged that Masterson had assaulted them at different points during this period, leading to the start of an investigation into his conduct. The case attracted significant media attention, as Masterson was a well-known figure in Hollywood at the time, and the accusations against him raised serious questions about his behavior. In June 2020, Masterson was arrested in connection with these allegations and was released on bail shortly afterward. His legal battles and the accusations against him quickly overshadowed his public career, and he was ultimately written out of the ranch in the same year. In December 2022, Masterson's criminal trial began, where he faced multiple charges of sexual assault. The proceedings were highly publicized and included testimony from the women who accused him. However, the first trial ended in a mistrial, as the jury was unable to reach a verdict on the charges. Masterson's legal troubles continued into 2023. A subsequent retrial began in May 2023. And this time, the jury convicted him on 2 of the charges related to sexual assault. However, the jury could not come to a decision on a 3rd count, leaving that charge unresolved. Despite this, the conviction on 2 counts marked a significant turning point in Masterson's case and was seen as a major development in the Duggar Me Too movement, as it brought further attention to allegations against prominent figures in Hollywood. Following the conviction, Masterson was held in custody until his sentencing, which took place in September 2023. He was sentenced to a lengthy prison term, a decision that concluded the criminal case against him and marked the end of his career in the public eye. Suge Knight Marion Hugh Suge Knight Jr., the notorious hip-hop mogul and former CEO of Death Row Records, became embroiled in a deadly incident in January 2015 that changed the trajectory of his life. According to the Cinemaholic, Knight had a confrontation with Clee Bone Sloan, a consultant for the biopic Straight Outta Compton. The altercation escalated to a physical fight, prompting Knight to flee in his vehicle. In the process, he struck Sloan and ran over another man, Terry Carter. While Sloan survived with injuries, Carter tragically succumbed to his wounds. Knight initially claimed his actions were in self-defense, alleging that he was fleeing from 2 armed men who were threatening his life. Despite his claims, the evidence did not fully support his narrative, leading to a lengthy legal battle. In 2018, Knight accepted a plea deal, pleading no contest to voluntary manslaughter. He was sentenced to 22 years in prison for the manslaughter charge, with an additional 6 years for a third-strike felony enhancement, totaling 28 years of incarceration. Knight has been serving his sentence at the Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego County, California. His earliest eligibility for parole is in 2037. Adding another layer of intrigue to his story, Knight made a startling allegation not long after his imprisonment. He claimed that Dr. Dre, a former collaborator and prominent figure in the music industry, orchestrated a plot to assassinate him. Knight alleged that the scheme was a murder-for-hire plan, complete with a paper trail of evidence. Speaking to The Blast, he insisted that Dre sought to get rid of him, though these claims have not been substantiated and remain controversial. This accusation underscores the long-standing tension between Knight and Dre, a feud that has spanned decades and left an indelible mark on hip-hop history. Kid Creole. On August 1st, 2017, Glover, then 61 years old, was walking through Midtown Manhattan when he encountered John Jolly, a 55-year-old man who was a registered sex offender and reportedly homeless at the time. According to reports, an altercation ensued between the two men, during which Glover stabbed Jolly twice in the chest with a knife. Jolly later succumbed to his injuries at a nearby hospital. Glover was arrested the same night and charged with second-degree murder. The circumstances surrounding the incident became a central focus of the case. Glover maintained that he acted in self-defense, alleging that Jolly approached him in an aggressive manner and made him feel threatened. In a 2021 interview, Glover explained that he initially thought Jolly was attempting to make unwanted advances toward him, which escalated when Jolly began to follow him. Glover disputed allegations that the altercation was motivated by homophobia, stating that his actions were purely in response to what he perceived as a physical threat. "I was minding my own business," Glover said. "This person aggressively approached me, and I acted out of fear for my safety." While awaiting trial, Glover expressed deep frustration with the legal process, describing his time in pretrial detention as mentally and emotionally draining. "I'm locked in a room 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, not knowing my fate," he said, highlighting the challenges of enduring prolonged incarceration without resolution. In 2022, after years of delays, Glover stood trial for the fatal stabbing. During the proceedings, prosecutors argued that Glover's actions were disproportionate and not justified as self-defense. The defense reiterated Glover's account, emphasizing his fear and the perceived threat posed by Jolly. Ultimately, the jury found Glover guilty of first-degree manslaughter. The judge sentenced him to 16 years in prison, a term reflecting the seriousness of the crime while acknowledging the complexities of the case. Joe's son. On Christmas Eve 1990, Joe's son played a key role in the kidnapping, assault, torture, and group sexual assault of a woman. The crime was brutal and involved several perpetrators, with Son participating in the torture and sexual assault. While the crime occurred years before he became known for his Hollywood roles, it would eventually come to define his life in a tragic way. At the time of the crime, Son was still an aspiring figure in the entertainment industry, and his involvement in such horrific actions remained largely hidden from public view. It wasn't until 2008 that evidence of Son's involvement in the crime was uncovered. During an unrelated investigation, DNA evidence linked Son to the 1990 assault. This breakthrough led to his arrest, and in 2011, he was convicted of the kidnapping, assault, and sexual assault charges. The conviction resulted in a life sentence for Son, with no possibility of parole. The gravity of the crime and the long gap between the event and his conviction drew attention to Son's criminal past and underscored the contrast between his violent actions and his on-screen persona. While serving his life sentence, Son's violent nature did not subside. In 2019, he was involved in another disturbing incident within the prison system. Son, a trained mixed martial arts (MMA) combatant, was placed in a cell with a fellow inmate. During the course of their time together, Son violently attacked his cellmate, kicking and punching him to death. The brutal nature of the attack shocked prison officials, especially considering Son's background in combat sports. Prosecutors initially sought a second life sentence for the murder, but the jury ultimately convicted him of voluntary manslaughter, a lesser charge. As a result, Son was sentenced to an additional 27 years in prison, a term that would be added to the life sentence he was already serving for the previous crimes. Gary Glitter. Gary Glitter's life and career took a drastic and dark turn as he became embroiled in a series of legal issues. His fall from grace began with allegations of sexual offenses. Glitter was first convicted of possessing child pornography in 1999, which marked the beginning of his legal troubles. Despite this conviction, Glitter continued to attempt a return to the music industry, though his past caught up with him. In 2006, he was arrested in Vietnam for committing offenses against young girls, which resulted in a 3-year prison sentence. Upon his release, Glitter returned to the UK, but his legal issues were far from over. In 2015, following an extensive police investigation into historical sexual abuse, Glitter was convicted of multiple charges relating to the abuse of young girls during the 1970s and 1980s. He was sentenced to 16 years in prison for these offenses, marking the second major legal setback in his life. The conviction, which shocked the public due to his status as a former beloved pop icon, came at a time when society was beginning to re-examine the behaviors of celebrities and public figures, particularly in light of the ongoing effects of the Me Too movement. Despite serving time for these convictions, Glitter's legal journey was not over. In 2023, after serving a portion of his sentence, Glitter was released from prison on parole, but his release was short-lived. He violated the terms of his parole, leading to his re-incarceration. As of now, he is scheduled to face a parole hearing in January 2024, where the decision will be made regarding whether he will be allowed to return to the community under supervision or if he will remain in custody for the remainder of his sentence. Tammy Sytch. In March 2022, Tammy Sytch was involved in a tragic incident in Ormond Beach, Florida, that led to severe legal consequences. Sytch crashed her vehicle into another car that was stopped at an intersection, resulting in the death of 75-year-old Julian Lassiter, the driver of the other car. The impact of the crash was fatal, and subsequent investigations revealed that Sytch's blood alcohol level was more than 3 times the legal limit in Florida. Authorities also discovered an open vodka bottle in her vehicle, further pointing to the severity of the situation. In the wake of the accident, Sytch faced several legal hurdles. She had a history of arrests in 2022, including incidents related to public intoxication and a violation of a restraining order stemming from a domestic violence charge. As a result, the court denied her bond following the fatal crash. She remained in prison, awaiting her trial. Sytch's trial for the DUI-related death of Julian Lassiter concluded in August 2023, when she entered a no-contest plea, a legal maneuver where the defendant neither admits nor denies guilt, but agrees to be sentenced. 2 months later, in October 2023, Sytch was sentenced to 17 years in prison for her role in the accident and the tragic loss of life. The sentencing marked the end of a career that had once been filled with promise and fame, now overshadowed by the devastating consequences of her actions. Shah. In March 2021, Shah and her assistant Stuart Smith were indicted by the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York on charges of wire fraud and money laundering. The charges stemmed from an elaborate telemarketing scheme that ran from 2012 to 2021. Shah and Smith operated a fraudulent business that sold non-existent products and services, specifically targeting vulnerable elderly consumers. These products were marketed as income-generating opportunities, but in reality they were bogus, designed to deceive individuals into paying for something that had no value. The scheme was part of a broader nationwide effort to defraud senior citizens, taking advantage of their trust and financial insecurity. The fraudulent telemarketing operations promised financial opportunities that could supposedly help consumers make money, but the reality was that Shah and Smith were pocketing the money from these unsuspecting victims. The fraud was meticulously planned and executed, and it wasn't until authorities launched an investigation that the full scale of the operation came to light. Initially, Shah entered a not guilty plea to charges of conspiracy to commit wire fraud and conspiracy to commit money laundering. However, as the legal process continued, it became clear that she was facing a significant legal battle. In 2022, Shah opted to strike a plea deal with prosecutors, agreeing to plead guilty to 1 count of wire fraud. As part of the deal, the conspiracy to commit money laundering charge was dropped. Shah's decision to plead guilty came after months of legal maneuvering and public scrutiny, with many wondering how the reality TV star would navigate the fallout from her legal issues. In January 2023, Shah was sentenced to 6.5 years in federal prison for her role in the fraudulent scheme. The sentence marked a stark contrast to the glamorous life she had showcased on television. What had started as a promising reality TV career and a successful business image ended with Shah facing years behind bars for crimes that defrauded elderly people of their savings. Shannon Richardson. In a shocking case that intertwined celebrity, criminal intent, and political threats, actress Shannon Richardson, known for her minor roles in productions like The Walking Dead and The Vampire Diaries, became infamous for a dangerous and calculated crime in 2013. According to the Texarkana Gazette, Richardson pleaded guilty to charges of developing, producing, possessing, and transferring a biological toxin with the intent to use it as a weapon. Her actions led to a federal prison sentence of 18 years, and she is currently serving her time in Fort Worth, Texas, with an expected release date in 2029. Richardson's criminal plot involved mailing letters laced with the deadly toxin ricin to then-President Barack Obama, New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg, and Michael Glaze, a staff member of Mayors Against Illegal Guns. The letters contained threats and criticisms related to gun control policies, a topic Richardson claimed to be passionate about. Ricin, a lethal toxin derived from castor beans, was produced by Richardson in her home, where she lived with her husband and 4 children. Alarmingly, she was pregnant at the time of preparing the substance. To carry out the plan, Richardson purchased supplies using a credit card and an online account registered under her husband's name. She attempted to frame her husband for the crime by planting evidence in his car and lunchbox, including castor bean residue and incriminating materials. Richardson's efforts to shift suspicion to her husband unraveled when investigators, including the FBI, meticulously examined the letters and traced the materials back to her. The letters were intercepted before reaching their intended recipients, and forensic analysis revealed the presence of ricin. In addition, Richardson's actions left a digital trail that further implicated her, including online purchases and search history related to ricin production. When authorities confronted her, Richardson initially denied involvement but later confessed, leading to her arrest in 2013. During her trial, Richardson admitted her guilt and expressed remorse. However, the severity of her actions and the danger they posed led to her receiving one of the harshest sentences for crimes involving bioterrorism. Richardson's case became a chilling example of how personal grievances and political motivations can escalate into acts of domestic terrorism. Now serving her sentence, Richardson is ineligible for parole, ensuring she will remain behind bars until at least 2029. Ian Watkins' Lost Prophets, a goth-tinged alternative metal band from Wales, rose to prominence in the early 2000s, carving out a niche in the rock music scene with their dark, energetic sound. The band was formed in 1997 in Pontypridd, a town in South Wales, and gained widespread attention with their distinctive blend of metal, rock, and post-hardcore influences. They quickly became a favorite among fans of alternative and rock music, particularly in the UK, where their presence on the airwaves was undeniable. The band's breakthrough came with their second album, Start Something, released in 2004. Featuring hits like Last Train Home, the album propelled Lost Prophets to mainstream success. Last Train Home became one of their most iconic tracks, topping the Billboard Alternative Songs chart in the U.S. and earning them a solid spot in international rock radio. This success was followed by further hits such as Wake Up, Make a Move, and I Don't Know, which not only resonated with their existing fan base, but also helped them expand their reach. These songs' mix of catchy melodies, powerful guitar riffs, and emotionally charged lyrics made them staples on rock stations around the world. At the heart of Lost Prophets was Ian Watkins, the band's charismatic frontman, who served as the primary songwriter and creative force behind the band's music. Watkins' presence both on stage and in the media gave the band its distinct identity, and his persona became intrinsically linked to the band's success. He was celebrated for his energetic performances, raw vocal style, and intense lyrics, which often explored themes of personal struggle, rebellion, and alienation. However, the band's career came to a devastating halt in 2013 due to Watkins' involvement in criminal activity that shocked fans and the public alike. He was arrested and later convicted on multiple charges, including serious and highly disturbing crimes involving child sexual abuse. The details of his crimes were deeply troubling, and the case garnered widespread media attention due to the horrific nature of his actions. A Crown Court judge, after hearing the evidence, described Watkins's offenses as highly troubling and emphasized the gravity of his actions. In defense of Watkins, his legal team argued that his memory of certain events might have been clouded by his reported history of drug abuse. However, this defense was not accepted by the court, which found that Watkins's actions were deliberate and premeditated. His lack of remorse throughout the trial further contributed to the judge's decision, leading to a lengthy prison sentence. Additionally, 2 women who were involved in the crimes were also sentenced for their participation in the offenses. Elizabeth Holmes. In 2014, Elizabeth Holmes appeared to be a trailblazer on the cutting edge of both technology and medicine. As the founder and CEO of Theranos, she was hailed as a revolutionary figure, one of the youngest self-made billionaires in history. A Stanford University dropout, Holmes seemed to embody the narrative of Silicon Valley's promise, young, visionary, and determined to change the world. Her company, Theranos, was built around a groundbreaking medical device called the Edison test, which she claimed could revolutionize diagnostic medicine. According to Holmes, the device could conduct a wide range of medical tests using just a few drops of blood, eliminating the need for painful, invasive procedures like traditional blood draws and offering faster, cheaper, and more accessible diagnostic options for millions of people. Holmes's bold vision captured the attention of both the public and the investment world. Theranos attracted hundreds of millions of dollars in funding from prominent investors, including venture capital firms, high-profile individuals, and corporate executives. The company reached a valuation of $9 billion, and Holmes herself was celebrated as a modern-day female tech icon, drawing comparisons to industry legends like Steve Jobs. She was widely regarded as a visionary who was poised to revolutionize healthcare. However, by 2016, the story took a dramatic turn. Investigations and reports began to surface revealing that the Edison test did not work as promised. In fact, it couldn't accurately perform the tests Holmes had claimed. Whistleblowers from within the company, combined with investigative reporting from the Wall Street Journal, exposed the reality that Theranos had misled investors, doctors, and patients alike. The technology behind the Edison test was not nearly as advanced or reliable as Holmes had portrayed it, and the company was built on a facade of success. As the truth came to light, Theranos crumbled. Investors and patients who had been swayed by Holmes's promises were left in the wake of a massive deception. Holmes faced serious legal consequences for her role in the fraud. She was indicted on multiple charges, including wire fraud and conspiracy to commit wire fraud. In 2021, she stood trial, facing 11 counts in federal court for defrauding both investors and patients. The trial revealed that Holmes had knowingly misled investors about the capabilities of her company's technology, even as she continued to secure funding and tout the success of Theranos. A jury ultimately found her guilty on 4 charges related to defrauding patients and conspiracy to defraud patients. However, the jury could not reach a unanimous verdict on the counts regarding investor fraud, leaving some charges unresolved. Despite this, the convictions were a devastating blow to Holmes's reputation and career. In January 2022, Holmes was sentenced to 11 years and 3 months in federal prison for her role in the Theranos scandal. The sentence included 3 years of supervised release after her time in prison, along with a fine of $400 and an order to pay restitution to the victims of her fraud. The sentencing marked the fall of a once-celebrated figure whose vision of transforming healthcare had instead led to one of the biggest corporate frauds in recent history. In 2023, Holmes's legal team succeeded in securing a reduction of her prison sentence, which was shortened to 9 years. With this reduced sentence, Holmes is expected to serve her time and be released in 2032. While her fall from grace is now a cautionary tale of ambition, deception, and the dangers of unchecked hubris in Silicon Valley, her case also serves as a stark reminder of the importance of accountability, especially when it comes to industries that impact public health and well-being. Jerry Harris. After Netflix premiered Cheer in early 2020, the series quickly became a cultural sensation, providing a behind-the-scenes look at the elite cheerleading squad at Navarro College in Corsicana, Texas. The show garnered widespread attention not only for its high-stakes cheer routines, but also for the compelling personalities of the athletes, particularly Jerry Harris. Harris, a charismatic and energetic member of the team, quickly became one of the standout stars of the show. His infectious personality, captivating story, and dedication to his craft made him a fan favorite, earning him a massive following on social media. His newfound fame brought him into the spotlight, attracting attention from high-profile celebrities like Reese Witherspoon, who praised him publicly, and Ellen DeGeneres, who invited him onto her popular talk show. Harris seemed poised for a promising future in the entertainment world, becoming one of the most recognizable faces in reality TV during 2020. He appeared regularly in interviews and public appearances, and even secured sponsorship deals, further cementing his place in the public eye. However, in September 2020, the trajectory of Harris's career took a dramatic turn when allegations against him surfaced. The nature of the accusations involved inappropriate conduct, particularly with underage individuals. As the allegations came to light, an investigation was launched into his behavior. Over the following months, the legal process unfolded, and the charges against Harris were confirmed. His rapid rise to fame was overshadowed by the serious legal implications surrounding the case. In February 2022, Harris pled guilty to charges related to his actions, admitting to the offenses during the court proceedings. By July 2022, he began serving a prison sentence as part of his conviction. His fall from grace marked a stark contrast to the adulation he had received just a year earlier, as his story became a cautionary tale about the dangers of celebrity and the responsibilities that come with it. Amy Locane. Despite a seemingly promising career, Locane's life and career took a dramatic turn in 2010. After attending a rap party for a theater production she was involved in, Locane drove under the influence of alcohol and was involved in 2 separate car accidents that night. The first accident did not result in serious harm, but the second collision proved to be catastrophic. Locane crashed into a vehicle driven by Fred Seaman, which caused the death of his wife, Helene Seaman. The fatal accident occurred in Montgomery, New Jersey, and the ensuing legal and media attention cast a dark shadow over Locane's once promising career. In 2012, Locane was found guilty of vehicular homicide and aggravated assault due to the second accident that led to the death of Helene Seaman. Initially, she was sentenced to 5 years in prison for her actions, but the sentence was later reduced to 3 years. However, Locane's legal troubles did not end with her initial sentence. Over the following years, she faced additional legal battles regarding the severity of her sentence. Despite being paroled, Locane's case continued to make headlines, particularly as she faced further sentences for what were perceived as lenient punishments for her crime. In 2020, her sentence was revised, and she was handed an additional 8 years in prison, bringing further consequences for the fatal crash. What do you think about these stars' cases? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.